Hi guys, it's Find of the Month time again, Find of the Month February. This week I've just gone to see an old mate to try and do a deal on something he's got, but whilst I was mooching in the back of his warehouses, I stumbled across this really big parcel of Royal Navy bells. Now, I instantly recognised them as being the same bells that I'd sold to this guy probably about 8 years ago. And I sold him they were all unissued Royal Navy Crown Top Admiralty pattern bells, fresh out of old Ministry of Defence stores. And the only difference was all those years later is that they'd been engraved. And not just engraved with any old name on them, but some really significant ships of the Royal Navy. Anyway, he caught me looking at the bells and he looked a bit sheepish and laughed, and he basically confessed that he'd had them engraved with Royal Navy launch dates and names with unscrupulous sort of intentions of injecting them into auctions slowly and hoping that some of them would make a ridiculous amount of money as basically passing them off as originals. So I immediately pointed out that was a pretty risky thing to do, because if he'd been found out, all his years of hard work building up his business, etc., would have come tumbling down very quickly. And I said that, you know, the engravings, as good as they are, looked a bit too fresh. So the chances of failures was really high. But to be honest, if he had carried on doing what he was intending to do, he would have had some big successes, because you know what it's like when a collector, as a collector, for you guys that collect marine antiques or anything like that, when you see something ridiculously special, it's very easy to sort of don the rose-tinted spectacles and get a bit carried away. So I scared him to death, basically. He is a little bit dodgy, and to be honest, he's known to, you know, he just couldn't lie straight in bed, this guy. But he's a good old friend, so I offered to help him out with a solution to this inevitable problem that he was going to have. So I offered him his money back for the bells, and I offered to pay the cost of the engraving that he'd invested into it, and to bring them home. Immediately he rejected that plan, because I think he really wanted to have his day in auction, so to speak. So, but it was only when I jumped in the van that he gestured for me to wind my window down, and it was at that point he said, yeah, do you know what? Let's do that deal. So I got them home yesterday, and I've just started to go through them properly. They need a good scrub and a clean, to be honest. But we'll release them as what they truly are, really, which is original, beautiful, Leon Utley made bells with commemorative names on. The value of the bells in their own right are really high. These are very rare bells, and the very best of their kind, and made by the very best maker. So they are beautiful bells, and as I said, there's some serious heavyweight names here. So HMS Liverpool, for example, that's a lovely crown top bell with Leon Utley's name on the top. Launched in 1937. She was a cruiser that did a lot of World War II stuff, flagship to the China Station, Arctic, Malta convoys. Ajax, famous Royal Navy name. You can just see the Pusser's mark on the top there. You probably can't make that out. In fact, a lot of these bells have the Pusser's mark on the back, which really adds something to the aesthetic and the value actually of these bells. Ajax 34, famous name, part of the Battle of the River Plate. For those of you that know, that was a fascinating battle. Again, it's something I might go into at a later date. Kenya, Fiji class cruiser, hunted the Bismarck, took 10 tons of gold from Russia to USA, played a big part in the relief of Malta when she was besieged. What have I got here? Sheffield, 1936. Nice nickel-plated bronze bell there. She was another cruiser, helped sink the big Bismarck, involved in Arctic convoys and landings in North Africa. What else? Amazon, yeah, good name. Prototype destroyer in the 20s. She was part of the Malta convoys too, and Operation Pedestal, and part of that famous Santa Maria convoy that saved Malta. HMS Birmingham, another town class cruiser, colourful history from Eastern Fleet to the Med, hit by German and Italian aircraft and German submarines, repaired and sent back out several times. Glasgow, she was 1936, so that she was part of the Home Fleet, nearly sank again by German bombs in her first year. Lots of action in the Med, Far East, home waters. We won't mention the fact that she sank 2 of our own. Achilles, built for the Royal Navy, transferred to the Kiwis in the beginning of the World War II. Famous for her part, again, in the Battle of River Plate alongside Ajax in Exeter. And down to the big bells. So these big 18-inch, 120 kilo bronze bells. HMS Nelson, can't get a better name than that really. She was a beautiful big battleship that was involved in the invasion of Algeria and Operation Torch. And she was even involved in the Normandy landings, I think. Yeah. Anson, one of the famous names of the Royal Navy, named after Admiral Anson. A beauty of a King George V battleship, you know, really big 40,000 ton ships, 10, 14-inch guns. She helped sink the Tirpitz, one of the most dangerous German battleships in World War II. And last but not least, another massive Admiralty Belle, HMS Eagle. She was a real famous aircraft carrier, and her, alongside Ark Royal, she was like the biggest aircraft carriers that we ever built. Well, at least until the Queen Elizabeth class was started to be built in the beginning of the 21st century. So, yeah, that's it. That's the brief version of the story. I could go on, as I often do. But these will get processed for the website. We're going to find clangers for the ones that are missing clangers. They'll go on the website, I think, in the next 7 to 10 days, so keep your eye out. And again, if you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, then go on there, because that's where our longer versions of our videos. If you enjoy our videos, then that's the best place to subscribe. And I hope you've enjoyed this month's Find of the Month, because I know I have.